We've had the tearful reunion, now it's time for Moose. Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So, that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to One Piece. This is, let me make sure I have this right, because I am bad about this. I really should have been prepared, but I was not. This is Season 2, Episode 9, aka 1164. So we're reaching the end of this first core of Season 2. And we've gotten, the crew split up, we've gotten them reunited, everyone's on Elbaf, we've had the big reveals. Loki has appeared, Saul has returned and reunited with Robin. And yeah, we're setting things up still. And I feel like this entire core is going to be that. The first core is going to be the setup core. It's going to prep everything, get us, to understand the location, to get a good view of everything going on here. And then core 2, which is going to come in the fall, is going to, probably kick off, the big story. The big elements that really start to change everything. Excuse me. But I guess we'll just have to see. So there's a lot of elements that I'm still waiting for. That I know are coming, but I don't know the context or anything of. Because, One Piece fans are shit at spoilers. I said the thing. But yeah, it sucks knowing as much as I do, even again, if it is out of context. Because it's just I wish I didn't know character A was going to appear, or that plot point A was going to happen at all. Even if I don't know what's going to lead into that, or what the information surrounding it's going to be, it's I would have liked to be a little more surprised. I would have liked to have been surprised at Loki's appearance, but unfortunately I already knew what he looked like. And mind you, it's different seeing it a still shot from the manga and seeing it in, animation. It's a very different vibe. But still. Either way, I guess we should just get into this and see what's going to happen, because I really don't know what to expect. I assume we're going to, learn more about this lady who like was running on the beach and telling them that Saul had passed out and everything. I assume we're going to actually truly meet her now. Other than that, I can't even begin to imagine. Maybe Robin and Saul will talk about like the history of things and everything. I don't know. Um but let's get into this and find out what we're doing next. Maybe we will have that banquet and eat that moose. Let's find out. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And welcome to the Afterthoughts. We'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, that ending caught me off guard at multiple levels. I'm not going to spoil anything, because, again, I don't even know context behind anything anyway. I just know who those two characters are. Because I've seen their designs and their names prior to this. I don't really know much of anything about their like actual character. I just know who they are. And maybe one or two things about them, but that's it. I'll leave it at that for now. But I will say, like when we first saw like the lightning or hockey or whatever the fuck that's supposed to be, like shooting in the air, like while everybody's getting ready still to celebrate and Brogy's pre-gaming and all. It's like I'm thinking like, what the fuck is that? And then it starts to show inside like the I guess empty castle, and it shows like the summoning circle. I'm like, excuse the fuck out of me. I was so caught off guard. I was like, just like dumbstruck, flabbergasted. That's a better word. Not dumbstruck, flabbergasted. Because the last time we saw that kind of summoning circle, it was obviously used by the fucking Gorosei. And so seeing that here, it's like, excuse me? And then we kind of got like the shadowed glimpse at them, and I'm like, oh, I know who they are. I did not know this was going to happen this soon. I genuinely was not expecting this to happen until the second core. But maybe maybe this is going to be how core 1 ends. Like with this big like initial incident, I'll say. I don't know what the hell's going to happen here, how quickly it's going to jump into this, but now I'm very curious. But let's talk about the rest of this episode. So we get to properly meet the woman we had seen running on the beach and talking about Saul being like passed out, and her name is Angie. She's friends with Saul. She's let me make sure I get this right as to her exact position with the school and everything. Is she a teacher? I think she's a teacher. Let me see if I could go back to the introduction real quick. I have to find it though. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. Looks like it was probably after Vegapunk. Okay, no, it's before there. It's before the kids come into play. So it's after Lilith reveals herself. Or it's before Lilith reveals herself, rather. No, but it's... No, it's after that. The kids come in. Angie explains the act and everything. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I don't know how I missed this before. Okay, she's the librarian. Okay, so she's not actually part of the school. She's the librarian. So yeah, Angie is a librarian and Saul's assistant at the Owl Library, which he created in order to house the lost knowledge of O'Hara, which I guess is the library we saw in the flashbacks with Vegapunk last arc. So yeah, that's great to see. It's absolutely like wonderful to see that the knowledge of O'Hara is still alive, that it was protected, that Hyrudine, Gerd, the others all helped bring it up, and that it's being kept safe. Like, yeah, Robin's starting to cry at that. Even Saul crying at that too. At Robin getting to see it. It's like that did make me tear up. It did. I wasn't expecting to cry much this episode, but it got to me at a couple points. Um, but yeah, we get to meet Angie, and we also get to meet another giantess named Ripley, who she was a teacher. I think it said she was the biology teacher. Again, let me make sure I get this completely correct here. Oh, well, there's her titties. I just have to, yeah, biology teacher of the Walrus School. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and she has an amazing design. Like, looking at her design here, um, outside of, like, the braided pink hair and the, like, war paint and everything, I like her, green top and everything. I like the colors, the shades, the cloak that goes with it, the kind of mini skirt she's wearing. She has like the kind of like fur lined boot padding that like Zorro has, kind of. She has a really cool design. Um I like the armbands with the yellows and blues. All the colors complement each other really well. And I like how the war paint goes from like her hairline goes down past her eye all the way down like her neck, her chest, all the way down her midsection. I can't tell if it stretches down her leg though, because at least in this shot she's kind of covering that leg with her other leg crossed over it. So I can't fully tell based on where it would be, but I'm not seeing it on the bottom part of the leg above the leg warmer, so maybe it stops at her like midsection. Hard to say. But yes, on top of just great design, she is also very hot. It's like she is extremely attractive. That is absolutely the case. Um she seems super nice and friendly, like everyone so far has been. I'm wondering, like, outside of, I guess, maybe Loki, who's been a little more confrontational, I wonder if there's going to be any other giants here besides him and, oh, Roto as well. I can't forget about creep-ass Roto. But is there going to be any other giants who are, like, just kind of not on the Straw Hat side? Not necessarily their enemy, but just don't really get the entire hype around them. It would kind of be cool, like maybe seeing like a crotchety old man who's just like not really sold on it all. Something like that. I don't know. It's just the idea of the entire island pretty much being on their side is like, it's a little bit much maybe. But to be fair, he does take the form of their god. So to be fair, there is that aspect, which is brought up here, of course. Ripley brings it up to Luffy, asking about that form. We get to meet these kids. We don't really get to know too much about them. Like they're just nice kids.
But the big thing we find out with them is them not wanting to be warriors, because apparently the former king, King Harold, who is the late king and the last king, because no one has been crowned since everyone refuses to allow Loki to be king because he's the one who killed Harold. And I guess Hyrudine just can't take the throne because he's like, he's the half brother of Loki. Loki like has the actual birthright, I guess. But yeah, or maybe Hyrudine just doesn't want to take the throne. That's a possibility too. Got to take that into account. But apparently King Harold started this entire reformation of Elbaf to turn it from this warrior kingdom into something a little more diverse and peaceful and diplomatic, which is not by any means like a bad thing. Of course, Usopp has an initial dissatisfaction with it, but that doesn't mean that warriors don't still exist. They absolutely do, both from previous generations, and there could be newer generations who are still like outliers. It's just the majority of the modern generation, the young kids and all, just don't want that anymore. And that's fine. That's entirely reasonable. They want to do other things. Like, people evolve as time moves on. In real life as well, obviously. A lot of, like, cultural ideas for what's normal for people to follow and believe and think change throughout history. Obviously, even just 50 years ago, people's, like, ideas of what was normal for, like, people to study and follow and think about as they grew into adults is much different than it is nowadays, for a number of reasons. And so it makes sense. Plus, again, the king wanted to kind of reform that idea. And again, yeah, Usopp is a little disappointed, but that doesn't mean that those kinds of warriors don't still exist. Like, it's made very clear that Hyrudine is fairly young for a giant. That Loki is even younger. And so they're still clearly warriors. Loki even, like, gets upset when people say he's nice. Because apparently he has a friend named Shaggy, which that's a thing, by the way. You know there's got to be jokes about that. There's got to be a lot of jokes about that. I'm surprised I haven't seen any. For those who don't know, there's an entire meme culture around Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and Ultra Instinct and everything, and it's just like the most random bullshit thing. It's based off of like a scene in one of the straight to DVD Scooby-Doo movies where I think, if I'm remembering hearing right, Shaggy gets hypnotized and like beats up a bunch of thugs in a bar or something. Probably not a bar, but you know what I mean, like a restaurant. It's something like that, and people have like memed the shit out of it. And so it's like hearing of a character named Shaggy here that's friends with the warrior prince Loki, who killed his own father and everything. You know there's got to be memes about that. Again, I'm just really surprised I haven't heard about any. But I'm curious as to who this Shaggy is. Clearly, based on the snail, if that's any hint, someone older. Someone that Loki has never personally met, but has formed a friendship with. I assume this old person knows who Loki is, maybe? I don't know. I'm trying to remember, though, like, going back to Ripley, her name was mentioned. Was it in the bar with the kid who also has pink hair? Could Ripley be his mom? Because he was mentioning something about his mom, wasn't he? Or I don't remember. Like, we saw the kid with the pink hair, who's friends with Shanks and everything. I'm trying to remember his name. Was it Column? It was something like that. Um, we'll see him again, obviously, but I think he was talking to the woman who ran the bar, and she said like she had something for Ripley or something like that that she wanted him to give to her. Of course, that could also just be because, she's the teacher at the school and he's a kid. So that could just be because of that. But I was thinking maybe she's his mother because they both have pink hair. It's a possibility, but with One Piece, it could go either way. You just don't know. They could be related. They could not have any connection whatsoever. Who knows? But yeah, I'm very curious now. Just because that's now on my mind. But yeah, I love that this episode started off with like Saul getting like truly introduced to the crew and getting to see that Robin found the friends that he had told her she would. Like, I'm glad they didn't show that in the last episode, so that the last episode could just end with Robin and Saul like reuniting and crying over reuniting, everyone else crying for them. Although there was more tears here, but I think that was the right move, having this episode start with that. And again, that if this is falling in line with like the chapters, I guess maybe that's just how Oda wrote that too. That Oda ended the previous chapter with the reunion and the tears and started this chapter with the actual introductions and all, which, I mean, I think that's a good idea. I think that like is just good pacing and shit. But yeah, I'm very, very curious as to how quickly we're gonna start getting into the action then. If if what's happening at the end of this episode is going to like come into play right away next episode, which I almost feel like it can't, right? I don't know, because there's like there's either 12 or 13 episodes. I think it's 13 for the season, or for this core of the season, which would mean there's like 4 episodes left. It's just like, are we really gonna like really get into the action here? I don't know. I don't know. But it's like that was just such a wild ending to suddenly drop on us. It was so like intense, and again caught me so off guard. And I'm very curious to actually learn more about these characters. Like I said, I know what they look like, I know what their names are, but I don't really know much of anything about them. So I'm actually very curious to learn more and find out whatever we can find out. So, as always, no spoilers. Because, like I said, even though I know some little things, I don't know details. And I don't want to accidentally be spoiled on any details of anything I don't know. So, no spoilers. But let me know what your thoughts on this episode of One Piece Season 2 are. And thank you, as always, so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.